And there are a lot of Browns fans who are here today, and he was signing some autographs. His dad, of course, was here. There he is, cowboy hat and all.
The Cleveland Browns locker room is officially a powder keg, and Coach Prime himself is the one who lit the fuse. Deion Sanders has truly had enough. And once I tell you what just went down between him and Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, you'll understand why the entire NFL is watching this situation like it's the season finale of their favorite show. Because people, this isn't just about football anymore. This is about family, respect, and a father watching his son get handled like a fiddle by a group that doesn't even recognize what they have sitting right in front of them. Let me paint the picture of what's happening in Cleveland at this very moment. It's absolutely insane. Shedeur Sanders, a fifth-round pick whose last name made critics assume he was overdrafted, just joined the NFL's most cursed quarterback franchise and pulled off something that hasn't been done in nearly 30 years. He won his first game, and not only did he win, but he also made throws so sharp that even Myles Garrett, the defensive superstar who usually doesn't care what the offense is doing because he's busy catching his breath after carrying the whole roster, looked up at the Jumbotron with his jaw hanging as he had just witnessed a miracle. We're talking about a defensive end so stunned by a rookie quarterback's pass that he had to comment on it publicly. That's how rare Shedeur's performance was. But here's where it goes from impressive to downright unbelievable. After just 1 week of practice with the first-team offense, this kid walks onto the field and delivers throws that Browns fans haven't seen completed since the Clinton administration.
That's the first time I've ever watched him play without me on the sideline. I've never seen him play without me coaching him, so that was strange, but it was good and it was healthy.
He also becomes the first Browns rookie quarterback to win his debut since 1995, finally ending a miserable 17-game losing streak for rookie starters in Cleveland. So what does Kevin Stefanski do? Does he step up and say with confidence that Shedeur is the guy moving forward? Does he give this young man the credit he deserves for possibly saving the coach's job and giving the franchise real hope for the first time in ages? No, he doesn't. He's unsure. He avoids giving a direct answer. Instead, he gives everyone the same recycled coach speak about not getting ahead of themselves and focusing on today.
Listen, we trust all of our guys. We trust our guys to perform. He's no different. And playing a backup quarterback role, as we've talked about over the years, that's tough to come in there. But we trust him. I know there's things that he's going to want to do better, but that's why we work.
Now, think about what happened when Dillon Gabriel was getting completely destroyed week after week, which led to the Browns' awful 1-4 record in the starts. When reporters asked Kevin Stefanski if Gabriel was still the starter after those terrible performances, did he say he needed time to think about it? Did he say he wanted to review the loss first? Not a chance. He immediately, without the slightest hesitation, confirmed that Gabriel was still his guy. No questions asked, no evaluation period, nothing. Instant commitment. Do you see the problem here? You can understand why Deion Sanders is said to have lost his mind when he heard this. Because it's obvious what's happening, and it reeks worse than fish left out under the sun for a week. Kevin Stefanski is treating Shedeur Sanders like a temporary patch, like a placeholder, like someone who has to reprove himself every single day, while Dillon Gabriel gets the benefit of the doubt after multiple bad outings. And that, my friends, is exactly why Coach Prime is ready to fight. Now, let me lay out what actually happened on that Las Vegas field everyone keeps talking about. Shedeur Sanders walked into a situation that would have broken most new players. He's operating behind an offensive line that can't consistently protect him.
Have you been keeping up with Shedeur in Cleveland?
Oh,
what's the best piece of advice you've given him as a dad and as a coach?
Be patient and be ready. But when it's time, you're going to know. I say, and it's coming up. I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's going to go down. But it's going to go down this year.
Right.
He's going to get a shot.
Happen. All right.
Yeah, he's going to get a shot.
And that's all you can ask for as a player. All you can ask for is the opportunity, right?
Tell me this, because this was all over the media, because I know y'all keep it a buck. That's why I love y'all to life. Let me tell you something. How in the world, they made a big deal out of Philly called us on draft day. They didn't mention that. I just let a cat out of the bag. Philly called us on
Okay, no, it's good. I didn't know that. Yeah, okay.
Who was it? Baltimore and the Browns.
I heard this, yeah.
And the Browns. They forget,
Yes.
I know I played for Baltimore, so me and Ozzie are cool. So
There you go.
we
Yes.
understood that whole conversation, and he wanted to talk to Shedeur as well as he wanted to talk to me. And I put Shedeur on the phone, and Shedeur, I don't want to say how it went, but how in the world can somebody fault him for saying or thinking, why in the world would I go back up Lamar for 10 more years? I've never sat on the bench and said, well, I learned a lot today.
That is a fucking great quote. Goddamn, that is a good quote.
He's playing for a team that's sitting at 3-8, and the fans have been beaten down for so many years that most of them don't even know how to hope anymore. He's been running the scout team for weeks, and only now has he had a single week of practice with the starters. And even with all of that, every disadvantage stacked against him, this young man went out there and looked like he belonged. The numbers don't tell the full story. 11 completions on 20 attempts for 209 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On paper, it looks solid, but not spectacular. But when you actually watch the tape, when you see the throws he made, and when you understand what he was up against, it becomes obvious that something special happened in Las Vegas. That 52-yard bomb to Isaiah Bond was more than just a nice throw. Rolling to his right to escape pressure, he launched a pass that was perfectly placed and threaded into tight downfield coverage. Even Kevin Stefanski himself admitted it was an extremely difficult throw. Translation: most quarterbacks in this league can't make that throw, and a rookie making his first start with a week of preparation definitely shouldn't be able to. Then came a 66-yard touchdown to Deion Foreman. On the stat sheet, it looks like a simple screen pass, 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, catch and run. Critics love to point and say it was all Foreman, that Shedeur shouldn't get credit for it. But here's my question. If it's so easy, why hasn't Cleveland's offense been doing it all season? Why did it take Deion Sanders in his very first start to finally make that kind of explosive play happen? Because he threw it on time. Because he put it exactly where his playmaker needed it. Because he made the right read, the right decision, and executed with timing. The Browns' offense has been missing all year under Gabriel. And it could have been even better. Jerry Jeudy dropped what should have been another huge gain on a perfectly thrown rollout pass from Shedeur. If that one play doesn't go wrong, we're talking about a rookie posting 250-plus yards and potentially leading another scoring drive in his very first start. But even without that, even with things out of his control going sideways, Deion Sanders did more than enough to earn the respect of Myles Garrett, the trust of his teammates, and most importantly, the right to start again. Yet Kevin Stefanski still won't say it outright. Kevin Stefanski finally said on Monday that Shedeur would start against the San Francisco 49ers, but only after hedging it with the same tired line that this is a week-to-week evaluation. He claimed Shedeur deserved another chance because the most important thing for a quarterback is to win, and he was happy that Shedeur won his first game. He talked about how young players, especially young quarterbacks, need to improve every week. It all sounds fine on the surface, until you remember he never held Dillon Gabriel to that same standard. Gabriel led this offense into complete irrelevance, yet he was declared the clear starter without hesitation. And this is where Deion Sanders comes in. And trust me, Coach Prime isn't tolerating any of this. Deion has been very clear to people around the league that he sees exactly what's happening in Cleveland, and he's not going to sit quietly while his son is disrespected. This isn't some overprotective dad who can't handle criticism. The league knows who Deion Sanders is. They know he understands the game at the highest level. They know he understands politics inside NFL organizations, and how those politics can destroy a young player's confidence and career before it even starts. He's watching his son fight through a situation where he's being held to a completely different standard than the guy he's competing against. And it's driving him absolutely insane. The phrase coming out of Deion's camp is short, sharp, and brutally honest. That's rude. And honestly, looking at everything that's happened, it's hard to disagree. Many scouts believe Deion Sanders should have gone higher than the 5th round, so dropping that far felt like a slap in the face. He was placed behind Gabriel and veteran Dorian Thompson-Robinson on the depth chart. He spent weeks running the scout team, basically a practice dummy, even though he was a drafted quarterback with real upside. He only got his chance because Gabriel got hurt. And even after winning his very first start and bringing more life to Cleveland's offense in one game than they'd had in weeks, he's still being treated like a guy auditioning for a temp job, not like someone worth investing in. This is the core of the conflict. So let's talk about what it really means to run the scout team. When you're on the scout team, you're not learning your playbook. You're not working with your starting offensive line. You're not building timing or chemistry with your starting receivers. You're literally pretending to be the other team's quarterback so the defense can practice. You're basically a live-action crash test dummy for the defense to warm up on. That's fine for a veteran backup who already knows the system and doesn't need reps. But for a rookie, a drafted rookie, who needs every repetition, every coaching moment, every chance to develop, that's almost criminal. Some analysts try to justify it by saying backup quarterbacks don't usually get first-team reps. But here's what they conveniently forget. They're talking about veteran backups, guys who've been in the league for years, guys who can survive without reps because they've seen every defense imaginable. Deion Sanders is not that. He's a rookie. He was drafted. He might be the future of the franchise. And he spent weeks getting zero real development time, only to be thrown into his first NFL start with a single week of practice, and he still delivered. That alone tells you how naturally gifted, mentally sharp, and calm he truly is. But it also raises the question, what exactly are the Browns doing to develop their young quarterbacks? Because this right here, this exact situation, is what has Deion Sanders furious. He knows his son has the talent to play at this level. He knows his son just proved it against the Raiders. He knows Cleveland hasn't had a quarterback with Shedeur's raw arm talent in years. And he watched his son stay calm under pressure that rattles veteran QBs, make deep sideline throws, deliver perfectly timed screens, escape pressure behind a shaky offensive line, all in his very first NFL start on the road in a hostile stadium. And instead of giving him the full respect he earned, instead of giving him full commitment, instead of saying, this is our guy, he's being told he has to prove it all over again next week, and the week after that, with no promise of anything long-term. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel had Stefanski's full belief even while losing. Gabriel has a 59.2% completion percentage, higher than Shedeur's 55% in one game. But numbers don't tell you the difference between a safe, meaningless 4-yard pass and a downfield strike in a tight coverage. Gabriel padded stats with short throws that moved nothing. Shedeur pushed the ball, expanded the offense, and made real plays. That's the difference between a game manager and a potential franchise quarterback. And the difference shows in everything, even the way they look. Shedeur is bigger, stronger, has a better arm, throws deeper, and makes throws that Gabriel simply can't. He can fire the ball from multiple angles, on the move, under pressure, all the things scouts raved about when he was at Colorado. People wondered how he fell to the 5th round. In one shot, he answered all of them. And the locker room sees it too. You can feel how the locker room views this entire situation just by looking at how Myles Garrett reacted after the game. Garrett, who has seen every quarterback Cleveland has marched out since 1999, all 42 of them, was genuinely fired up about what he saw from Shedeur. His comment said everything. There aren't many guys in the league who can make that throw. That was a hell of a throw. I hope he can continue to grow and develop from making plays like that. That's not casual praise. That's not a polite soundbite. That's a defensive superstar recognizing that the team might finally have something special at the most important position in football. In the moment captured on camera, Garrett staring up at the video board, his face showing pure shock and excitement at what Shedeur had just done. That kind of reaction lights up a whole locker room. It tells the defense, if we keep doing our job, the offense might finally reward us. For years, Cleveland's defense would dominate, force punts, hold opponents to low scores, only for the offense to go 3 and out over and over again. But now, with Shedeur under center, there's suddenly belief. Suddenly, big plays feel possible. Suddenly, the offense looks like a weapon instead of a burden. And that's exactly why everyone watching this situation is so frustrated with Kevin Stefanski for refusing to fully commit. Stefanski had zero hesitation naming Dillon Gabriel the clear starter, even when the Browns were losing every week, even when the offense was stuck in neutral, even when defenses were swallowing him whole. But now that Shedeur has won his first start and looked better in one game than Gabriel did in multiple starts, suddenly it becomes a week-to-week evaluation. Suddenly, Stefanski needs to see more. Suddenly, there's doubt. This is the kind of mixed message treatment that ruins young quarterbacks. It creates uncertainty. It prevents a young QB from taking full command of the team. It sends a message to the locker room that even the coaches aren't sure about him. And how do you lead grown men in a battle if your own head coach won't commit to you after you walk into the most chaotic situation possible and win? Deion Sanders understands this better than almost anyone. He played at the highest level. He knows how this league operates. He knows how quickly organizations can derail a young quarterback by failing to support him, by hesitating, by creating unnecessary instability. And he can see, clearer than anyone, that Shedeur is being held to a different standard than the guy he's competing with. That's why his frustration is boiling over. No one should be shocked that Deion is speaking up about how Cleveland is handling this. Now, let's get into the heart of the bigger issue. A lot of people want to dismiss anything good about Shedeur Sanders simply because of his last name. They see Deion's involvement and immediately assume favoritism. They act like Shedeur only gets opportunities because of who his father is, as if being Deion's son handed him a free ride. And yes, having Deion Sanders as your father means you grew up with guidance most young quarterbacks would kill for. But here's what those critics never understand. Being Deion's son does not help you throw a 52-yard strike with a defender breathing down your neck. It does not give you the arm strength to drill passes into tight windows downfield. It does not teach you how to read a defense at NFL speed or make the right decision when the pocket is collapsing around you. Shedeur had to earn every step. He had to win the job at Jackson State. He had to go to Colorado and prove himself all over again against top-level competition. He had to fight through the draft process where evaluators undervalued him. And now he has to prove himself in the NFL, where your last name doesn't matter one bit if you can't play. There are countless sons of legends who never made it as pros. The league doesn't care about your DNA. You can either play or you can't. And Shedeur can play. He proved it at Colorado with 3 500-plus yards and 27 touchdowns. He proved it in Las Vegas, staying calm in his first NFL start with every reason to fail. And he's about to get another chance against the 49ers, a far tougher test than anything the Raiders threw at him. The Browns are about to learn a lot.